Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Competition Timeout. I'm your host, Nando. Once again, we're back. It is Tuesday, and today we wrap up the AFC North with the Baltimore Ravens. All right. Ravens, they went 13-4 last year. They lost to the Chiefs. And it was at home. They had the home field advantage. And they looked like they were going to be the team. It was them and San Fran that it looked like we're going to make it to the Super Bowl going into the end of last season. Ravens played the Niners towards the end of the season and whooped them, and it looked like that was gonna we were gonna see a rematch a few weeks later, and we did not. That's just how the league goes, honestly. But yeah, 13-4 Baltimore Ravens. How do they build on this? So not a lot of changes from them. This is the Baltimore Ravens. They'll figure things out. They let Patrick Queen walk. He went to the Steelers. Talked about before. They let Geno Stone walk. He went to the Bengals. So two guys that played a big role last year went on to division rivals. Uh, that would be two of my key losses with those two guys. Obviously, the other guys were role players, and the Ravens have always been really good at figuring out some of these guys, young guys, figuring out unsigned guy, undrafted guys, and things like that that'll work out. So I'm not worried about that. Um, their biggest offseason move is they went ahead and signed Derrick Henry to a year, 16 million. They add to that backfield, and that was probably their biggest move of the offseason was doing that. In the draft, they got out of Clemson with the 30th pick. They got Nate Wiggins um, to be cornerback from Clemson to try to set up the future next to Marlon Humphrey on the other side there. So that was that. All right, coaching changes. There was some changes for them. Obviously, Mike McDonald went and took the head coaching job in Seattle. Zach Orr replaces him. Zach Orr, if you don't know, used to be a player for the Ravens. Actually, 2016 was his last year. He's been coaching since. He's only 32. So, Denard Wilson, their defensive backs coach, accepted that job with Tennessee to be their defensive coordinator. So he was replaced by Doug Mallory. Anthony Weaver, who was the defensive line coach, accepted the Dolphins' defensive coordinator job. So they got some things, but it's the Ravens. They promote it mostly within. That's what they do. They're really good at that. And John Harbaugh's got his staff ready. Yeah. So in the Ravens, obviously offensively, you have Lamar. You added Derrick Henry, which I think is going to add some power there. Oh, obviously, no pun intended. It's going to add some power because of Derrick Henry. Uh, but it's going to add to what they already had. Uh, receiver. They have Zay Flowers going into his second year. And then it's a lot of unknowns there after that, honestly. Like, I know they gave him an extension and it wasn't that much money, but Rashad Bateman hasn't done much. You got Nelson Aguilar, who I like personally, but, he's not number two. He's a better number three. And then they just got a bunch of guys: Tylen Wallace, Anthony Miller, Deontay Hardy, Russell Gage. I just don't know. Oh, tight end is pretty good. Mark Andrews, and then Isaiah Likely right after. See if they can get Isaiah involved a little more, especially with not as much, receiving power. The line's another place I'm not worried about. This is what they do. This is the Ravens. Like, the Ravens are a stand-up organization. They draft well, find gems. Like, this is what they do. So that line's gonna be okay. Defensively, almost, I think I can repeat almost the same things I said about the Steelers. The Ravens are going to be solid every year. They're going to be solid, especially defense. That's the one place it's not going to falter with them. They're returning most of their guys. Like I said, they didn't really, they lost Gino and they lost Patrick Queen, but they're going to figure that out and be okay. Obviously, they got Roquan Smith. Um, as far as pass rush, they got David Ojabo. David Ojabo coming off an injury. They got Odafe Owe, part of the pass rush. Van Noy still there, a little veteran help. They'll be fine. Secondary, they still have Marcus Williams. They have obviously Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, who had a scare in practice the other day, but he's going to be fine. Jalen Armour Davis. They drafted Nate Wiggins. Um, they signed Eddie Jackson, who was in free agency until like a couple weeks ago. So they they're going to be fine, barring big injuries like of these teams. Um, they always find a way to, if an injury happens, to implement a veteran who's out there that did it last year. Clowney, they signed other people, Van Noy, before, that happened. Well, after the injuries happened, and then they were fine. All right, Kansas City is when they start the city. I mean, the Kansas City is when they start the season. It's actually the first game of the season that Thursday night. They go to Arrowhead to face the Chiefs. Tough game to start. It is an Arrowhead. Uh, I think the Chiefs will win that one, but this Baltimore team is really good. They could surprise. And then they go to Vegas. They should be able to win that. Go to the Cowboys. I think they're better than the Cowboys. Just my own opinion. They should win that. Bills could be a slobber knocker. I don't know. It's up in the air for me. Bengals, they're going to split, but I don't know if this is the one they win or they lose. Commanders, they'll win. Tampa, they'll win. Browns, once again, they'll split. I think everybody in the division is going to split. Denver, that's a win. They get Cincinnati and Pittsburgh split, whichever way you want to do it. Chargers, I think they'll get a win. The Eagles, I think it's up in the air. They just played in the preseason, which doesn't matter, but they'll play again. The Giants off of the bye, pretty late bye, the week 14. Wow. Giants off the bye is a win. Steelers, depends how you split it. Houston's going to be up in the air too, honestly. And then the Browns, depends how you split it. I don't think they're going to be 13-4, but I think they're going to be still really good. Maybe add like one more loss, they'll be 12-5, maybe, or 11-6. But I think they'll still make the playoffs. I think it's going to come down, if I'm being completely honest about the division winner. It's going to come down to the Ravens and I think it's gonna be Ravens and the Bengals for the division, but I think they're all going to be in it. All of them in this division, honestly, because this division is really good. They're gonna beat each other up. It's just gonna be really, really fun to see. Really tough football, and I can't wait for the hard knocks to happen with this whole division. Honestly, but yeah, guys, that was Tuesday. This is the Ravens. This is the end of the AFC South. Next, we're going to start with the NFC. I mean, that was the end of the AFC North. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to start tomorrow with the NFC South and then do the AFC South. So it's getting ahead of myself. So that's where we're going next. The Southern divisions in the NFL. See what's going on with them. One of them's a mess. But yes. Yes, guys. Once again, thank you for tuning in as usual to the competition timeout. Peace.